Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and I'd like to acknowledge that we're on the traditional territory of Comox First Nation. And first item is the adoption of the agenda. All in favor? Okay, carried. Thank you. All right, so we're on to regular council meeting minutes for adoption from Wednesday, October 21st. All in favor? Okay, and then we have the special council meeting minutes from October 28th for adoption. And all in favor? Okay, thank you. And moving down, we've moved down to the consent agenda, and we need a motion to adopt this first. And all in favor? Okay, and so if no one has any items to bring out, we'll move to motion to, well, I should say, if we want to pull one out, we need a motion to pull one out. Councillor Minions?
Yeah, if we can just move out D and E just for quick discussion.
D as in Bravo?
D as in dog and E as in elephant.
Delta Echo, okay.
Delta Echo is the military.
Yes.
Apparently I have never been.
Okay, so we have a motion to take D and E out. Second. On that? Okay, and all in favor? Okay, great. So we'll pull those out, and you want to speak to those, Councillor Minions?
Yeah, just really quickly on the first one on E, which was the parking issue on Mcdonald Road. I'm sure that's a refer to staff, but I just wanted to make sure that that was going into some of the traffic studies. And because we're talking about two developments that are so close in that area, and I think it's going to only increase, I just want to make sure that it's being referred to staff for consideration.
Yeah, we've received this and taken a look at it already. One of the issues that we're going to be running into there is the amount of street parking that's available is not going to be enough to provide adequate street parking for people that have, you know, if everybody has vehicles in excess of what they're able to get on the property, there's simply not going to be enough parking there, and it's going to need to be something people take into account when they're making those type of housing purchases. So one of the concerns on this one is that they had been able to do street parking in one spot for quite a while, and now it's becoming busier. Those spots simply aren't available. And I do anticipate that this problem is going to increase, and it's something people are just going to have to understand when they're purchasing those type of units.
Thank you. I kind of had the same thought as far as when you're purchasing a strata that has X amount of spots, that unfortunately there is that reality of you purchase this many and now you can't just park somewhere else. So would that be included in some kind of response to them as far as saying it's being taken under consideration, that like kind of that frank discussion back that parking within the complex was within the complex as they were sold, and that's kind of that.
Yeah, we've had communications with this person already, and we'll continue. They are not very favorable to the town speaking to them, which is why they wanted to come to council, but we'll continue to have those conversations and see where they go.
Thank you. And you had D as in Delta?
D as in Delta dog. I guess I went out of order there, but I'm just curious what the staff's perspective on the CVEDs is. That's kind of a timely discussion with them having an office in Comox. I'm just wondering if that was approved, or again, probably at a staff level, but just wanted to pull that out for quick discussion.
Mr. CAO.
So this is one that I wanted to bring to council for council's direction. We have the office space available. There's two offices in the finance building in the back there, so they'd actually have their own separate space. It's something that's kind of given to us in kind. We don't actually pay for that space. It's just given to us because nobody else is using it. So I did tell CVEDs that I would bring this to council and seek their direction. But it is something that we can provide. And I've already did tell CVEDs that if it is approved, it may not be long-term. If for some reason we need those spaces, you may have to leave. If some reason the owner is able to lease those spaces, you may have to leave at that point. And they seemed amenable to that. So it would be up to council if you wanted to provide that space. From staff's perspective, there's no issues.
Okay, and Nicole, did you have anything further? Because Councillor Grant has a question.
Go ahead.
I'll just be really quick on it because I'd be interested to hear Director Grant's, but I'm just, at first I thought nothing of it, but I'm just wondering if optically with the service review and people thinking we're potentially looking at moving things in-house, which is not accurate. We're looking at the service review of the current service. I'm just wondering what other people's thoughts are optically of having seabeds work within the town of Comox, even though logistically it does make a lot of sense. It can be spun that it's now, seabeds is now working within the town of Comox, which is not the accurate. Opinion of that.
Okay, Councillor Grant, then.
Yeah,
Councillor-
so just in answer to that, so they've done this before. They had some, not through the town, but they had space in Comox before. And the rationale is that they shut down their office in Courtney and they're now working out of the visitor center. And I know that currently they're doing some work in Comox right now. And to have to meet at coffee shops and stuff is just really not very good when a lot of the stuff is confidential. So this is a very temporary, like, if you're happening to be dealing with someone, just a place you can go and sit down and have a confidential talk. So it's not like they're going to be manning it all the time every day. It's going to be periodically when they're doing something in town.
Okay. Councillor Swift and then Bissinger.
Thank you. I'm sitting on this liaison committee that's trying to find ways to integrate seabeds into the regional district. And one of the things that came up was a hot desk kind of a thing where they could meet at the regional district office if and when appropriate on occasion. So I haven't seen the report yet, but everybody seemed happy with that. So this wouldn't be the only location.
And Councillor Bissinger.
Sure, I guess so. Hearing what everyone's saying, I also support that. So I don't know if I can just make a motion to allow them under the conditions outlined by the CAO.
And the seconder? Councillor Grant, any
discussion.
other comments? Councillor McKenna?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just for discussion, I know that up in finance they have the offices, and would anybody occupying those offices be expected to adhere to the COVID rules that finance has up there as far as masks on entering, and then in their office they're fine?
You want to go?
That's correct. They'd be required to follow those rules.
Okay, and I just hear people coming in and out. Is that a risk at all from a finance perspective?
So all of our buildings are open to the public by appointment, and then we do have buildings that are open to the public, the community center as well. So I don't think it's any increased level of risk or activity than would be normally expected any public building like we normally have.
Yeah, just my understanding in the letter is that they'd be in there after hours, and so does the finance department have any issue with somebody in their offices after hours?
So everybody has their ability to lock their own office doors if they wish. Given the professional natures of the group that we're talking about, I wouldn't be overly concerned about anything like theft or those type of concerns. Before they came in, we would sign a lease agreement and require them to follow certain protocols and procedures, but that's really no different than some of the arrangements we have down at the community center with different groups as well.
Okay, great. Thanks. Any other questions? Pat, you good?
Yeah, I think so. I see that as a viable alternative for them. Working out of somewhere to work from is very important. And if that's the only alternative, is there other alternatives in the town aside from? I just find it uncomfortable to be in the finance section for other people. And I totally trust that society for sure. I just wonder if there's alternatives for them.
Okay. All right. So seeing no other comments or questions, all in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much. So I'm making notes here as well. Okay, so fogging up here. So down to unfinished business, strategic planning and action items from November the 4th for receipt. And any questions? All in favor? Okay, thank you. And now the thing you've all been waiting for is the mayor's 2020 year in review. This is done, as you know, annually. We talk about what we've done, what we've accomplished, and as we go forward. So I'll just take a moment and read this. I've left you all a copy there. And Pat, you should have a copy on your email as well. So this states the great challenges we face as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 were matched by significant efforts and strides by council and staff around a range of projects, programs, and initiatives. I'm pleased to highlight some of these here through the lens of the town's strategic priorities. With the arrival of COVID-19, urgent responses were needed to support the town's business community and drive economic development measures to assist in the recovery and resilience of the economy. This included the implementation and extension of a temporary patio and parklet program to enable Comox food and beverage businesses to expand the footprint of their business outdoors to counter the reduced seating capacity requirements inside their business. Further, the town participated in the Economic Recovery Task Force, which resulted in a number of COVID-19 response initiatives, including the submission of 2 critical community economic recovery infrastructure program grants for the construction of additional parking areas at the Comox Valley Airport and the construction of a Marina services building at the Comox Marina, part of the next phase of improvements to the park and harbor. To support the health and well-being of our residents during this difficult time, the town drove to safely reopen the Comox Community Center after it had to close in March through a methodical, phased approach led by provincial safety guidelines. The center also launched the ActiveNet registration software program to provide an improved user experience for those that register for a range of programs online. On the community development and planning front, I'm pleased to see the movement towards a number of housing developments that will provide over 300 new housing units for residents, including rentals, single-family to multifamily options, and affordable seniors housing. 2 excellent examples include the seniors housing project that was approved on 1782 Balmoral Avenue that will see 55-unit apartment building constructed to help meet critical shortages in affordable seniors housing. In collaboration with the developer and the Comox Valley Children's Daycare Society, the project at 695 Aspen Road will not only help deliver a number of multifamily rental units, but will also feature a new nonprofit daycare center for 28 children. We will also host a Northeast Comox Stormwater Management Plan open house later this month to garner feedback on council's preferred solution for stormwater management in this area. To enable development applications to commence in 2021, which is expected to spur new tax revenue, new housing options, in addition to the creation of new jobs. Relative to our climate change and environmental priorities, the town installed new electric vehicle charging stations at the fire hall and at town hall, and partnered with the Comox Center Mall to install 2 charging stations on site. In collaboration with other island municipalities, the town secured funding for another EV station to be installed in 2021. Council also updated the building bylaw to include the BC Energy Step Code, which requires energy efficiency and new construction in the town ahead of the province's schedule. I'd like to recognize the great work of town staff, now under the leadership of our new Chief Administration Officer, Jordan Wall, for their resilience and adaptive approach throughout this unprecedented time, and to also extend my thanks and appreciation to you, Comox Council, for your efforts. There are many more initiatives and projects coming in 2021. I encourage all residents to continue to engage with the town by viewing council proceedings via our new YouTube channel, submitting questions to council, participating in the COVID-19 adapted open houses and public hearings we continue to hold, and following the various activities and initiatives of the town on our website, Facebook, and Twitter channels as a way to stay connected. So all in all, I think we've had a good year. We've had some challenges, and I, for one, am certainly looking forward to 2021. So do we need a motion to receive that? Okay. All in favor? All right, Gary, thanks. So let me just go up here. Under bylaw adoptions, we have the Comox bylaw notice enforcement bylaw number 1961. And this is for adoption. Any questions? All in favor? Okay, thank you. and the Comox Building Amendment Bylaw 1962. This one here, just wanted to add is to add in the provision to issue a municipal ticket information for failure to comply with the stop work notice to the list of ticketable offenses. So do we have a mover to adopt that?
I'll move it.
Okay, any questions on that? All in favor? Okay, thank you. New business, council appointments. So we have the council appointments, acting mayor roster, signing authorities, and meeting schedule.
So I'll move 1 through 7 with the following 2 changes: to put Councillor Minions onto sewer and delete Mayor Arnott, and to put Councillor Bissinger on as the alternate for the BIA and remove myself.
Okay. And so then we would need, so under the sewage, we would have just from what your proposal here is Minions, and then Bissinger would be the alternate.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And so then we would need an alternate for yourself, Councillor Grant, because Minions is the alternate right now for you in the sewage. So
I'll move McGowan as an alternate there.
Happy to.
okay. So CAO, you had a question? What was that?
So was the first motion made and seconded? And then we're now into an
Oh,
amended
yeah,
motion?
I don't think I said it out loud. Second.
Yeah. And I was just confirming with what Councillor Grant had said. So perhaps we should vote on what he said and then just make an amendment to.
Well, I think we're okay. So now we've got the main motion on the floor, which is to adopt the recommendation as presented in the report.
Correct.
Right, with the changes that you've detailed. And now we have an amendment to add Councillor McGowan as the alternate to Councillor Grant. Okay, so that's what the first vote will be on, and what's on the floor right now is to have the first alternate for the sewage committee to be Councillor McGowan.
Move.
Yes, under Councillor Grant, correct. Okay. And so any questions on that? Councillor Swift.
I'm just wondering if we have enough alternates. Do they line up now? Because who's my alternate if I'm on the sewage commission?
You
Is it-
have Councillor McKenna as your alternate. Councillor Grant would have McGowan if this passes, and Councillor Minions has Councillor Bissinger as an alternate.
Great.
This is for sewage. Okay,
Thank you.
and then under the BIA, I retain my position. Councillor Grant steps away, and Councillor Minions is the alternate to BIA. Did you say that?
That's what I heard.
Oh. Okay, do we want to have a little bit of discussion? Okay. Yeah, just, oh, hang on a second. I think I have to maybe.
Councillor Grant, I appreciate the consideration. I know if somebody else wants to have their name stand, I know Councillor Minions comes to mind. I'm happy to consider someone else as well.
I don't think I can vote for myself or second myself, but I would be happy to be the alternate for BIA. It was one I enjoyed covering for yourself in that community.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. That's what I had written down, was you as the alternate for BIA to myself.
You see, you
So
told me, Alex. That's why
I was
did
tricking.
that.
I was tricking you, Councillor Grant, to see if you're. paying
Well, it worked.
attention.
It tricked all of us.
Okay. Yes. So are we okay with that, CO? Friendly amendment to change Councillor Minions as the alternate to the BIA.
Shelley Rest when we didn't need her.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
And Councillor McGowan?
I just wanted to point out that there are 2 things missing on the board committees that I think were just added as we were going over the last year or 2. And that was the Food Policy Council, which we did pass a motion for. And I'm not sure, but I think the Community Drug Strategy was passed as well. So both of those, I do also sit on.
Okay, so we can have those added in. Councillor Bissinger.
Can I nominate myself as an alternate for the food security or food council? Because I think Councillor
I would
Fox-
love to have an alternate for any one of these because
Okay.
I don't really have,
CAO, you have your hand up.
I'm just wondering if we can deal with and pass the motion and then put those in, because this is starting to get pretty,
Yeah, totally.
Shelley's gonna be watching this tomorrow. She's going like this, so.
Okay, so I'll call the question.
Yeah, so seeing none for the initial motions, all in favor? So that's carried, thank you. Now we move to Councillor McGowan. You had the food policy and the community
Community Drug Strategy.
drug strategy. And you're both on both of those. And then are we having Councillor Bissinger as the alternate for both of those? Just to the food policy? Okay, and so we would need an alternate to the community drug one.
I'm happy to take that on and be the alternate for Councillor McGowan.
Okay, we had one hand up for Councillor Minions as an alternate.
I'm happy if Councillor Minions does it as well.
Okay.
I'll nominate Councillor Minions because she beat you to it.
Thank you.
Okay. So do you have a second?
I'll second.
Councillor? Okay, great. And
Okay,
any-
so,
Yeah, so if not any questions and all in favor of that?
well, no, I was just gonna
Okay.
ask, are these council appointments or are these ones where we're just saying you know, go and report back? Because
Yeah.
sometimes they're not actually council appointments.
Yes.
I think to Councillor McGowan's point, I think we voted them in our first year as a council appointment. We'd have to go back to the minutes, and this is possibly why it's missed on this assignment.
Yeah, so we we have in the agenda here on page 79, attendance at the following community organization meetings is on a by request or as needed basis. That's the Comox Valley Accessibility Committee, Environmental Council, and United Way Central Island. So I think we're adding these two to those, although I'm not sure if we have just somebody just attending those when they're requested. I don't see many of those meeting requests come across my desks that often, so. Councilor McGowan?
The Environmental Council or Resilience Comox Valley is on hiatus at the moment, just with everybody having so much on their plate. So they haven't been meeting very much.
Okay. All right.
So I don't have any problem with these appointments and they're good. It's just, you start to get into creep if you start putting too many things on and everybody gets too burdened down. And so I think we years ago went through and took a bunch of these out and said, you know, and put it into that other list of, you know, you can go, you can do your thing, but it's not an actual appointment. So.
Right. So why don't we just stick to the food policy and the committee for drug awareness? Was it
Drug Strategy.
drug strategy? And that we have McGowan for both, and Bissinger is the alternate for the food policy. And the motion is right now for Minions for the alternate for the community drug strategy. And I think we had a mover and a seconder on that. And seeing no other questions, all in favor? Okay, so that's carried. Thank you. All right, well, that wasn't that hard, actually. So,
Quick discussion point.
yes, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, I have some questions on kind of pay for certain boards and certain kind of things. Would that go under, could we forward those type of questions to when remuneration is looked at, if there's something that's highlighted?
Mhm.
For example, I go to like 20 hours of executive library board meetings, which is okay, but some communities are being paid, others aren't. So just when we actually look at like what everyone else is doing, that would
Yeah.
come under.
Yeah, no, I think that's
It's
a
not
great
right
idea.
now,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I have 2 or 3 remuneration points to kind of bring up, so.
okay. Do you want to bring them up now or?
No, I just
or
meant,
at
is
the
that
time?
the right,
Yeah.
I don't want to be that it was the time right now to bring it
Yeah.
up, and I don't.
Yeah, and I think good point. We'll slip those in when any council remuneration in the future.
And then the only other consideration is I think with CVRD board, due to COVID, I think it's really important to have consistency, and you guys are partway through, but I think sometime in the term, it would be good to have a senior incumbent and a new person sit on the CVRD board. And we kind of talked about it last year, but
Sure.
with COVID, I think this is not the right year. But my intention is to start going to more meetings and getting more involved and hopefully learn. But it'd be nice to see some sort of overlap and learning opportunities there just for that.
No, I think that's a good idea. And that's why we had this as looking for direction. I wanted this to be transparent. I wanted everybody to have a say into where we go. And I think your point is very well taken as we finish off year 3 and go into year 4, that we could be looking at perhaps, a change of somebody to go into, hopefully we're all reelected, but into that next term. So, okay, good. Thank you. And sorry, I'm just going, Councillor Bissinger.
Sure, thanks. I'm not sure if we've passed this already or not, but for the 2021 council meeting schedule, I know last year it seemed like July, August were pretty light, but it seemed like this year there's quite a bit on those agendas, and same thing in September. Would it make sense to add a meeting to those months or split up some of the, the items on those agendas? Or I'm not sure how the rest of council feels. I guess it's for consideration. I know it's nice to have the one meeting because then if people are planning vacations, so they know that they can plan before, after, and it gives you like a 3 to 4 week chunk of no council stuff. But it just seemed like those meetings went on till like 10 or 11 a few times. Or am I wrong? I don't know. But anyway, maybe just for discussion, whatever the councilors think.
Yeah, and we could also, as we get to that part of the year, we could look to see if maybe we need to change our strategic planning meeting to more of a regular council meeting, or just see what the workload is like. I know for myself, it's kind of nice to have that 1 or 2 meetings over the summer and get a bit of holidays. The CEO, do you have any?
Yeah, it's up to council. You guys set your schedule. If we get into that point where we're having meetings that are too long, we can certainly have that conversation with council if things start to get backlogged about scheduling an extra meeting. I believe that conversation did take place this year, and council kind of felt they would rather have 1 long meeting than 2 in the summer and having to come back just because of vacation scheduling. So where council wants to go, like I said, completely up to you guys. But if it does get to the point where things are too busy or we need an extra meeting, it can always be scheduled at the time.
Okay.
For discussion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think I kind of agree with Alex, except I would probably say, or Councilor Bissinger, I would probably say maybe that one meeting that we do have, we should start earlier. And so, do start at a 3 o'clock, for instance, because we are going to have a larger agenda, and then maybe we start at 3 o'clock and we're not heading into, 10, 11 or later.
Yeah.
But as you say, Mayor, we can talk about it as we get closer. And I also like the idea of only one meeting in July and 1 in August. I'd rather personally just have one big long one than 2 separate ones.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So we could do that. Maybe have an afternoon meeting that goes into early evening. We'll discuss at the time as we get closer. Okay. Thank you. So I think we took care of 1, 2, and from A to E, we took care of 3. We're at now number 4. The council approved the acting mayor roster for the 2021 calendar year. Did we? Okay, I'm sorry. So for number 3, that 1 member be appointed to the Vancouver Island Regional Library Board and 1 member as alternate. Do we want to leave that as status quo? Everybody's avoiding eye contact with Councillor Minions right now.
Well, I'd be happy to take it on if Councillor Minions wanted to resort to alternate, and I could take that on as a board appointment, but it's up to Councillor Minions.
Well, I was going to say it's typically in an IMO, but it's on Zoom right now, and it's 8 meetings a year if it's just the regular board. And then if you choose to do executive, which they will try and get you to do, it is about 14 or 15 meetings per year. So it's just, if you wanted to try it for a year to see, it's a very interesting board, and it's 39 communities. So it's one of the biggest groups.
Yeah, it's an interesting, I was attended one meeting for you, and it was interesting to say the least. Yeah.
They're in the process of, I don't know if that's
Yeah, not, yeah, don't tell me what they're in the
Yeah,
middle
no,
of
they're
doing,
fine.
yeah.
So
But
what?
it's totally up to Councillor Minions. If she wanted to step away, and I would be willing to step into those shoes and,
Yeah. I do see Councilor Minions, you're starting to get loaded up with some of the.
Yeah, I
so
would
this
say
might not be
because
a
of
bad thing.
waste management, hospital and sewage, I would be happy to give that a try for a year. And then that gives me a good reason to step back from executive, which I found more work than planned during COVID, because there was a lot of COVID planning. So if we can try that for a year, I would be happy to do that.
Okay, so do we have a motion for
Move.
that? Okay, and the motion is that Councilor McKenna will take on the Regional Library Board with, were you going to be the alternate then? Okay, with Councilor Minion as the alternate. So, all in favor? Okay, it's carried. Thank you. All right, and that the council approved the acting mayor roster for the 2021 calendar year.
Move.
Any questions on that? All in favor? Good, thank you. And that Myers Norris Penny LLP be appointed as town auditor for the 2021 calendar year.
Move.
Comments? All in favor? Okay, thank you. And that signing authority for 2021 be designated to myself, Councillor Ken Grant, Councillor Maureen Swift, CEO Jordan Wall, Director of Finance Clive Rudlich, and Director of Corporate Services Shelley Westmar.
Move.
And comments or questions? All in favor? Okay, great, thanks. And that the 2021 regular council and strategic planning committee meeting schedule will be approved as outlined in the October 29 report from the executive coordinator.
Move.
And any questions on that? Councillor Swift.
Thank you. Looking at the January schedule, I'm wondering what the rationale was for not meeting on the 6th. Like normally we would do 1st and 3rd. So in January, we only have one council meeting.
Yeah, CEO.
So agenda prep usually takes place the 2 weeks before the meeting, and that's when you're going to have most, if not all, of senior staff using their vacation. So that's the only reason to not have it, is that there probably won't be any items, and if there is going to be an agenda, it's going to be very small. So given the closeness to the holidays, it would just give council extra time to have your holidays as well.
Okay. Just scooch back up
It
here.
just, I guess, just as a follow-up, it just seems like we're going to have a really long break between our last meeting in December and our first meeting in January. But I hear the rationale, probably a good one. The only other suggestion I might make is that we schedule it and then you can always cancel it. But I'm fine with it the way it is.
Okay.
Yeah, totally up to council. I'm not 100% sure on past practices, but we did add in a meeting, the third meeting in December. From what I understand, that didn't used to be there. So it's adding in that meeting at the end of December when you've got staff around, and then taking the meeting out in the first meeting of January. But as far as adding that back in the schedule, that's fine as well.
Okay, any other questions on that? Seeing
Sorry,
none.
Sorry, I
Councillor.
was trying to follow what CAO Jordan was saying. So I don't see anything at the end of January. Were you saying the end of January there?
December.
At the end of December. So we have, this year we have 3 meetings in December. My understanding was previous practice, there was 2 meetings in December, 3 in January. So it's just flipped to have 3 in December, 2 in January.
Oh, I'm sorry. This coming December, we have 3 meetings scheduled.
That's correct.
Okay.
So then once you get out of that 3rd week in December, then you have 3 weeks of time away from council over the Christmas vacation period.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Seeing no other comments, all in favor? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. And okay, so now I got to go back up. I think that's all taken care of. Let me go through this. All right. The uncomfortable silence as I find my place. Okay. Yeah, there we go here. So now we're down to impacts of landfill closure on Comox waste collection. So this is in reference to the RD changing the disposal date so it'll be closed on statutory holidays. So what are we looking for?
We move
Recognition.
receipt.
So this is only receipt for information. So any comments from council on this? CAO and then Councilor Grant.
I just wanted to introduce it a little bit. So with the closure that's going to be happening on staff holidays, we're going to be moving to an add-a-day schedule. So what that means is if you would normally have gotten your garbage picked up on Tuesday, it's going to shift to Wednesday, and it'll stay at a Wednesday until the next time the staff holiday happens, and then you'll shift to a day after that. Because many of the stats are taking place on Mondays, which we don't have garbage pickup in town on Mondays anyway, that will, the number of impacts are actually fairly small. I think it's 3 through the year, but there will be impacts felt in the community. The reason our recycling right now takes place on bi-weekly is that we share those resources with Courtney. So it likely will result in some people missing their recycling pickup, resulting in that pickup route only getting recycling once in that month rather than once in the 2 weeks. So that's going to have an impact, as well as businesses that are having their garbage emptied out with their specific contracts with Mterra. So that's outside of the town. Those are contracts that they have. But Mterra is not going to be able to make that up. They're trying to figure out how they're going to grapple with that. So they're going to have to try and figure out how to best mediate that. But there are some impacts that are going to be felt in the community. And anytime we go through a change with garbage collection, it hits and impacts every single person. So we expect this to be a fairly noisy transition. And we're about to launch our communications plan just to get ready for this.
Okay, Councilor Grant and then Minions.
So I was wondering if, I see this turning into a bit of chaos, at least initially, and then just one of those continuing problems that we would have. So if we wanted to look at repealing the motion that the Solid Waste Board made on November 14th of 2019, would that go through the CVRD board or the Solid Waste Board?
It could go through either. I would say Solid Waste Board is probably where it should start, because I think the CVRD has delegated that decision-making authority for the most part at that board. I'm not sure at this point there's going to be a lot of support. Just speaking with the communities, Comox and Cumberland would like to see this changed. Courtney had wanted to see it changed, but they're far enough along in the planning that I don't think they're supportive of having a delay. It would make sense not to move forward with this right now, but to maybe move forward with it once we move on to that larger region-based collection approach that we're looking at. My concern, and I think it's shared by Cumberland, is if we go through and get everybody onto this system, are we going to have to change that system once we get into the organics and everything after that? And these changes are quite disruptive to the community. So it would be great if this could be delayed. I'm just not sure the support will be there.
Well, I'm not 100%. Like I'd like to make this motion because I think it's going to be chaos, and I agree with you. It probably won't pass, but I think it's important that we show our objection to this, and then at least we can say to our citizens that we're doing what we can to not have this interruption.
Okay, so we have a motion to receive, and then we'll have a motion to. Okay, so on receipt, all in favor? Right. Any opposed? Okay, it's carried. Thanks. And on the motion, Councilor Grant.
So I would make a motion to repeal the November 14th, 2019 decision to close the landfill on staff holidays at the Solid Waste Board.
Second.
Okay. And any questions, Councilor Bissinger?
Yeah, I'm just reading the minutes right now of the solid waste board meeting, and I'm actually looking at the way that it was presented to the board, and it was more like number of visits, as in like personal households visiting the landfill, with a savings of $30,000 a year overall for the solid waste function, which is not very significant when you think of like all the disruptions for Courtney changing to the whole zone system, and the impacts it will have in Comox and businesses. So I would strongly support that.
Okay, Minions, Council Minions, you have your hand up?
Yeah, before Ken said the same thing, I was gonna say that they definitely talked about just the dumping fees, and I guess all our brains went immediately to people just bringing their truckloads. So our next meeting is December 3rd, so I'd say if we can get some communication points around how we present it and maybe try and talk to Courtney beforehand.
Okay.
The whole one a day concept was not provided at all in staff reports, and unfortunately we didn't have that knowledge and didn't click. So I would definitely say repealing it, saying Comox is not for that now.
Mhm.
And it wasn't that long ago, it was, weeks ago. So if Courtney has made that much traction, I'd be surprised, but
Right, and what was the date? It was the 14th,
November.
November 14th. Okay,
And our next meeting,
November,
no, it can't have been November 14th.
No.
14th doesn't happen.
today's November 4th.
October.
Oh,
But weren't we talking about like one holiday and now it has 10 in there? But anyway, so December 3rd is the next meeting. So as long as it's our motion, I think we need to act on it right away then.
okay,
That
so do you have that
not as
motion handy?
presented.
That Councillor Grant stated? Yeah, okay. So any further questions or comments on that? Seeing none on the motion. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, and so then we go on to opportunity for public to hear and see council meetings. This is recommendations are to consider discontinuing the use of the Stair Senior Center as an opportunity for the public to hear and see council meetings in person due to very limited attendance. So we have 3 recommendations here. We have number 1, in accordance to Administrative Order M192, that despite our best efforts, council reaffirms that the attendance of members of the public cannot be accommodated at council and council committee meetings due to the room size and maximum person capacity of council chambers.
I'll move that.
Okay. Any questions on that? Seeing none.
Oh, no, I'm wondering about, and I may not have seen it yet, but when delegations come, we don't really have room for them. And I've noticed that the only people that actually generally come and watch the meetings are those that are delegations.
Mhm.
So what would we do with those people if we did this?
CEO has a comment there.
We would probably open the facility for them to stay there and just wait, and then they would come in and go. My experience is usually the delegations don't stay around to watch the entire meeting. They're just there to have their chance to speak. With delegations being at the beginning of the meetings, we would likely just have them sit in the stair center. When it was their turn to come in, they would present and they would leave after that.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions? All in favor? Opposed? 1 opposed, Councillor McKenna. Okay, thank you. And
We can't hear
Sorry,
you.
I was on mute. I was just too late on the approved.
oh,
I was
okay,
not- I was not
it's-
opposed.
okay, so it's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
And recommendation 2, that due to the low turnout of the public at the Stair Senior Center during council meetings and the requirement of the provincial health officer's order on gatherings and events, council discontinue the opportunity of the public to hear and see meetings in person through attendance and live streamed events at the Stair Senior Center.
Well,
Okay, any questions or comments on that?
Just for discussion.
Yeah, Councillor McKenna, go ahead.
Yeah, just curious, like how many people on average over there? Is there 0?
0. We've not
Yeah.
to say there hasn't been anybody, but on an average night like tonight, 0.
Yeah, thank you.
I think, staff and our technician over there, Ruby's done a great job in making this easy for people at home to view. And so I think this is where it's been going, where the people are Councillor Bissinger.
Is there thoughts of like moving our council meetings at the stair house just because it's bigger space?
No, it wasn't something that we've envisioned. It's something we can look into if that's something council wants to do. One of the benefits of not having it in despair now is not having to do the extra cleaning in there for the senior center. They have been fairly uncomfortable with us using the space and having people come and go. But it is something we can look at.
Okay, thanks. All right, any other questions, comments?
I
on
think
that?
just to, yeah, I just want to make a comment just on Councillor Bissinger's comment. You know, with the increased cases that are starting to occur again in British Columbia, I know how fortunate we are to be in our location and where we are on Vancouver Island, but you know, I think we should almost consider the fact that things are going to get worse again here, and we should have a contingency plan, either virtually, electronically, or you know. I just think, you know, maybe it won't come through to fruition, but things are getting worse across the country, across the world. And so having a big space, ventilated, masks on, that's what the province is recommending, right?
Okay, thank you. Any
Thank
other comments, questions on that? Seeing none, all in favor of number 2? And you're in favor, Councillor?
Yeah, raise my hand.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So that's unanimous as well. And number 3, the council continue to ensuring openness, transparency, accessibility, and accountability for council and council chamber meetings, committee meetings by allowing the public to hear and see meetings electronically, allowing the public to ask questions on agenda items, publishing the entire agenda and background material, archiving the meeting video for future, and promoting the public's ability to hear and see live stream, and continuing to explore options to facilitate public participation.
Move.
Okay, so any questions or comments on that? Councillor Minions.
I just had a quick clarification on items that's not here but included for our council. Was there a type of meeting where only 3 people could be able to, was it in camera or special? There was a special meeting. I'm
That's
just
when we're,
wondering if that could not be added, as I'm wondering if that restriction could be too strict.
no, under the Emergency Act the province has put in, we're all allowed to participate electronically because we changed our procedure bylaw. In normal times, we allow up to 3 councillors to participate electronically. So does that, and see,
Yeah, I sent that out and I was wrong. What Mira Arnott is saying is that it is correct. With the ministerial order, there's no restriction on the ability to participate electronically.
and we're still under that emergency umbrella. Yeah, okay, thanks. All right, any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Great, carried, thank you. Now, purchase a fire prevention vehicle. So this is, the town is losing its sponsorship of the fire services fire prevention vehicle, and staff are seeking council approval to purchase it in 2021 prior to the formal adoption of the 2021 financial plan. So first of all, many thanks go out to Dodge, because I know they've been a big supporter of the town of Comox and the fire department for comping this vehicle over the years. So recommendation is that council authorize the purchase of the 2018 Dodge Renegade, currently used as a sponsored fire prevention vehicle from Comox Valley Dodge for approximately $30,000.
Move.
Any questions on that? Councillor Bissinger.
Not to be like maybe gritty or whatever, but it seems like a lot of money, 30,000 for 2018 Dodge. I don't know. Like, has it been actually, like, is that what the blue book of used vehicle says, or like the London vehicle? I don't, it just seems like a lot of money for a used car, because I know my Volkswagen is definitely not worth that much. And it's
Does your Volkswagen have lights though, like cool lights and like it's all decked out?
I just want clarification, please.
Yeah, to the chief, he's got his hand up there. Go ahead, Gord.
Yeah, just to comment on that, the vehicle was priced at $27,009, I think. A very low mileage, very good shape. It's got most of the options. We did look at other used vehicles of that range, and we think we're in the right price range. In addition to that, we've got $1,500 worth of emergency striping and another $1,000 worth of emergency lights invested in this vehicle already that we'd have to take off and put on another vehicle. So we think it's good value for us. The footprint fits good with our fire inspector, and so we think it's valuable to go forward. And as you might see in the report, the Comox firefighters are funding $5,000 of this too to make it work. So.
Okay, great. Councillor McKenna.
Yeah, maybe just a question through to Chief. Is there any other automotive dealerships that are willing to play? Maybe not this year, but next year? Or I know Dodge has been so great to us, but is there another dealer that's willing to help us out?
We had looked at that option. We thought it wasn't fair to go out and ask others right now for because of the COVID and everything else. So we thought let's go ahead with this project, and maybe in the future when business climate looks better, we can relook at that either with the previous dealer, Comox Valley Dodge, or other dealers.
Yeah, fair. Thanks,
Okay,
Mayor.
thanks. And I did notice in your report there, Chief, that you are hoping that you can get out to 2032, I think, for lifespan for this vehicle. Was that right?
Yeah, I'm not sure on the years there. I'd originally put a 10-year plan on there, and somehow that number got changed. I'm not sure who changed.
Oh, okay.
It,
but we'll get some good use out of it anyway.
We'll get some good use, and the fire department is notorious for looking after our vehicles very well and getting good years out of them. So 10 to 15 years is not uncommon.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? So all in favor of recommendation number 1? And that's carried. Thank you. And number 2 is that that an additional $12,000 be added to the 2021 fire service capital equipment budget. Any questions on that? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And that number 3, early budget approval be granted for the additional $12,000 to the 2021 fire service capital equipment budget prior to the formal adoption. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, all in favor? All unanimous. Thank you very much. And Gord, I think it's safe to say we will be sending something out to the Dodge dealership, expressing our gratitude over the year and wishing them good luck as they work through this COVID.
Definitely. They've been a very good community partner with us. As we mentioned, 18 years of this, which is thousands and thousands of dollars of free leases that we've gotten over those 18 years. So we hope to maintain a solid relationship with them, and we'll send them a very nice thank you for the years of community support they've given us.
Great, thank you. And we'll move now to noise exemption permit for dredging of Comox Valley Marina. And just see what we have here. So any questions on that? Seeing none, all in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you. I'm just going to get my space back again. All right, so now we'll move down to reports from members of council. So Councillor Bissinger. No, next. Okay, Councillor McKenna.
Yeah, so thanks, Mayor. I was at, although I was late today, I just had so much going on, but the Comox Valley Coalition to End Homelessness, I attended that today. Some really great news over there. The Connect Center lease has been extended by the city of Courtenay for another year. So that's really great for our most vulnerable population. And of course, all of them with all this granting information that's available now from the federal government, and there's a lot of money available. So everybody is kind of looking for municipal land to build on. So that might be something for us to really consider in upcoming council meetings to chat through. I attended with the mayor, I attended the Comox BIA on Monday night. That was awesome. They had a couple of technical glitches, which their coordinator, Haley Dewars, just did an excellent job coordinating that. And funny enough, I attended for my work, I attended a City of Courtenay council meeting on Monday, and it's always interesting to watch another council at work. And I've for my own work, I have to do that. I watch Campbell River on occasion as well, and you know, it's quite a learning experience to watch other people do the job that you're just trying so desperately to do as well as you can. So it was interesting. So thanks, Mayor. That's where I've been.
Great, thank you. Councillor Minion, would you like to go next?
We went to Vancouver Island's Regional Library Board Executive Meeting where they're just starting to open the branches for a walkthrough service, which basically means you have a limited amount of time, but they're not doing the door pickup, which has been the trend for the last 2 months in Comox. So they're just encouraging everyone to wear masks, but no appointments are needed. So the library hours are a little bit different that they're posted on the website. And I had 2 or 3 community member meetings about different things, one nonprofit, one environmental, and one housing.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Grant.
So I attended the CVRD meeting last week, and in there we published the rethink. Did we publish that, or did you just put it online? I can't remember, but it's when we went through department by department and looked for efficiencies, and they just put it into a booklet form to show all the things that we did, which is pretty good, actually. I mean, it's something we should probably do every year anyway, but just with COVID, they were just showing the efficiencies. We also got a $47,000 grant for active transportation to support the active transportation network plan, and a $50,000 grant from Island Community Health as a wellness grant to support Airshed Roundtable. And we also applied for a grant for a food hub. This was more of an Area C thing, but getting our approval for a food hub at the Merville Hall. And it's the same grant that we've applied for the Marina and the airport. So that was one of the things they were looking for.
Thank
That's
you.
my report.
Okay, thanks, Councillor McGowan.
Hi, so I, apparently losing my voice. I attended the STAIR full board meeting. They've got a few new board members on there, which is nice to see. Still working on a full game plan for opening up. Community drug strategy, vision statement, and all that kind of thing was clarified. Completed module 2 of the FCM climate course and met with the Canadian sailing team for their Q&A, which is really cool to see the engagement by all the local young sailors, because they're really excited about it. It's great to have them here.
Great, thanks, Councillor Swift.
Thank you. I attended the 911 Strategic Planning Day, which took place last Monday. Nothing amazing to report there, except to say that some of the CAOs from the Port Alberni, Parksville, and Qualicum attended that meeting, which was interesting because there was the regional district of Nanaimo was wanting to withdraw from the service, but it seems that they've changed their minds regarding that now. So it was good to hear about the service, and it's an excellent service. We have that contract is coming up to have a look at whether we want to continue, and I would suspect that we will, but we'll see. I have another meeting on Friday. I went to the regular Filbert board meeting, and they're hanging in there with their gift shops doing really well. If you have any Christmas shopping to do, don't forget to swing by there. And the next day we went to the liquid waste management planning, which was our meeting 11. And we're not quite finished there, but I think we've got a recommendation to forward to the Sewage Commission. So that was good. And then the last one was I attended the CVRD regular board meeting. And that's my report.
Thank you, and Councillor Bissinger.
Sorry for being disorganized there. I attended a online symposium about water resilience in the Comox Valley and just showing like the history of the Comox Valley, which was pretty interesting. And on Friday this week, there's the VICC Resilient Community Summit that I think a few are attending, so we'll report on that next time.
All right, thanks. For myself, with Councillor McGowan, I did attend the sailing team. This is the Olympic sailing team that's practicing here in Comox Marina. They say this is going to be very similar conditions they're expecting when they go to Tokyo. So that's great to have them there. I know the town has been working with them, as well as I believe D&D for some housing. Are they living in the shacks over there? You know? Yeah. Yeah, at Quadra. So that's good. The Legion, I attended the Legion Poppy presentation, and they gave me a tour of the new and improved Legion, and it actually looks quite nice in there. And they're anticipating a November 10 opening, but I think it'll just be a soft opening, and then after that they'll have something. But it looks pretty good. And as they mentioned in the past, it is open to the public now. You don't need to be a Legion member. With Councillor McKenna, the BIA AGM the other night, yesterday during the day, there was a mental health teleconference that I participated with Councillor Baird, or Mayor Baird, and rep from Courtney and Area C, and just talked about the ACT program, the CAR 67, and some of the challenges that Cumberland is starting to get with their vulnerable population. So that was good, everybody working together. I did want to make, and that's it for what I've done, but I wanted to give a big shout out to the Comox Fire Department. I was at home on Halloween night, and I looked out and there was a whole bunch of flashing lights. And then I thought something was going on in the street, and it was a big fire truck, and they were just kind of being part of the festivities, and they're handing out kids and just kind of keeping an eye on handing out candy to the kids. Yeah. Handing out candy to the kids and just keeping an eye on things. They gave out 3 dozen smoke detectors for parents who brought the kids to the fire hall. They had a tent set outside. Unfortunately, the community has loved the hot dog event that they had over the years, but that was changed. And also that 12 volunteer fire department, 12 firefighters have volunteered their time to make this as best Halloween for the kids as possible, given the COVID circumstances. So Gord, to you and your team, thank you very much for that. You always represent the town very well, and we do appreciate that. And those flashing lights, it gets the kid out, and you see them, you want to go see the fire truck and what they're doing. And maybe one day you'll let me drive in it, not drive it, but drive in it, sit in it. So, and then we've had a milestone here on Comox Council that Councillor Grant turned 60 years old, I believe, yesterday. So happy birthday, Councillor Grant. I think when he started here as a councillor, he was probably like 18 or something, or it just felt that long. So, so again, congratulations from all of us and happy birthday.
Well, thank you. I don't feel a day over 59 and a half.
And so do we have any public questions that have been presented to us? No. So seeing nothing further, move to adjourn. And all in favor? Okay, Carrie, thanks. And we will have the public hearing at 7 p.m. in this stair. So, thank you.